June 2nd, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will premiere. So Adan and I, we're going to look into the start of it all. 2018's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Rotten Tomatoes has it ranked at 97% by the critics and 93% by the audience. Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. I am Angel.
I'm Adan.
Where we give you a review at least once a week. Spoilers. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was a knockout sensation when it came out. I just finished watching it again. It's a kind of movie that whatever you're doing, you stop to watch, or that you're watching more than what you're doing. But one of the times that we're watching together, you, me, and Kimberly, we were playing Skippo. And for the most part, we were not playing Skippo. We were watching Into the Spider-Verse, regardless how many times we watched it before. It's one of those movies like The Matrix, Rocky, The Predator, for me in that instance, Star Wars, A New Hope, or Empire Strikes Back. When it's on, it gets your attention and you just want to see it play through.
I mean, there's a lot of aspects to it that draw your attention, even the soundtrack. Like I remember during Christmas, you were playing the Christmas soundtrack from Into the Spider-Verse.
Right, exactly. And even though it's like maybe like 6 songs or what have you, it's still good.
Yeah,
for Christmas. I know I had to play over and over again. And yes, you're right. The soundtrack is amazing, especially for the music pertaining to Prowler.
Yes, like the because
very iconic.
That kind of roar sound that they would do, and then they had the music that followed with it.
Correct. Yes,
they had a good intensity draw.
Now, again, it came out in 2018, written by Phil Lord and Rodney Rothman, and the directors were Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman as well. Now, did you know that there's an extended version of this movie?
I think there was. I didn't watch the extended version though.
It's like 30 minutes of extra. Now, not all of them are complete. Some of like drawings or like storyboards, or just unfinished projects. So,
see, if it's not finished, I'm okay not seeing that.
Yeah, but I may go and watch that. It's extra 30 minutes. And I think that's be kind of cool in a sense how the story may differ. Of course, I mean, the movie is almost long as it is already. It's almost 2 hours long.
You're breaking that 2-hour barrier, which is a long time for an animated feature.
Exactly, I know. Because usually with the Batman films or the DC directed to DVD, it's like it used to be 70 minutes. Now it's getting longer and longer and longer in that spectrum. Voices. All-star cast. You have here Shameik Moore, Jack Johnson, Haley Steinfeld,
John Mulaney.
But you have the guy who's going to be Blade. He was Cottonmouth in the Luke series.
He was Prowler. He was
Mahershala Ali. Brian Tyree Henry, another guy. He was in the Joker. He was in Eternals as well. So he's another guy who's been doing DC Marvel. Granted, I understand this is voice work. It's not really acting on screen, but you know how I get about that. And then speaking about that, you have Nick Cage.
Fantastic.
Nicolas Cage. I mean, he did a great part, but again, a guy who's been in several comic book projects. He was supposed to be Kal-El with Tim Burton's version of Superman.
Well, I know he applied for it.
But. He was supposed to be. Tim Burton was supposed to do a Superman version.
Really?
Oh, look up online.
Because I remember he applied for Kevin Smith wanted to do a Superman, and he applied and he wanted to do Superman Returns and get the Superman suit, and he did an audition for that.
Well, the thing is, what Kevin Smith?
Well, originally Superman Returns, they were talking to Kevin Smith, and then there's a whole interview with Kevin Smith. Sorry, we're getting off track, but there was a whole interview with Kevin Smith where he brought the story of Superman Returns. And then they start rewriting the script, and it turned out so changed that they ended up using that script for Wild Wild West with, it was a whole spiral. I know it's somewhere. I saw the interview somewhere, but it because the giant spider mechanic was in that discussion of that rewriting of the script. He's like, I swear that was in my thing. Also, for what became Superman Returns, Nick Cage wanted to be Superman for that release, and
I
he
don't know
had,
about that. Maybe Kal-El, not Kal-El, but the father, Jor-El,
yeah,
because the thing with Tim Burton's version, he was already there. He tested the suit already, just like how Michael Keaton's Batman body armor was.
mhm.
He was similar. It had a little more different. It had lights, I think, attached to it to make it glow in the light, what have you.
No, I
But
remember that. Yeah, and he
he
had
had
the long
long hair,
hair.
right? So that was with Tim Burton.
People fact
Um,
check us.
I know this. I
I'm
mean, I
telling
see.
the audience.
All right, but you also have here Lily Tomlin as Aunt May. You have Luna Lauren Velez, Zoe Kravitz,
Hmm.
Catwoman, but she's here as Mary Jane. As
Hmm.
you mentioned, John Mulaney. Then you have Kimiko Glenn, Catherine Hahn, who was also
Bad with names.
she was in the Wanda and Vision show. She was
It's gotta be Agatha or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Liev Schreiber, he was Kingpin. He
Hmm.
played that character in Comic Con a couple of times.
I
Chris
did
Pine, yeah, Chris Pine as another Peter Parker, or the original Peter Parker of Miles Morales'
universe.
Planet. You also have Oscar Isaac,
Hmm.
Stan Lee doing his voice,
Hmm.
Lake Bell. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the best Spider-Man movies out there. Regardless, it's Peter, Miles, what have you. It's one of the best ones.
Yeah, I'm going out and saying that right now. Like, y- animated versus live action, it's up there, if not the best. Let's be honest. Like, as far as movies go for interpretation of Spider-Man.
Right. It's visually stunning. The soundtrack, like we said, is amazing. The action in it is great. They get how Spider-Man moves. Now, you have that luxury to do that in animation, where in live action it is hard. And sometimes they use CGI to help the actors
Hmm.
perform those moves. But here you can get that, and it's done well. And I've always said it before, like I need to watch this with 3D glasses because how the animation shifts from regular 2D to 3D with like the double pictures on top of each other, and
Yeah, how they
even
do the
Kim,
focus in and out.
right? Kim's was coming in and enjoying me to watch it, and she's like, "Oh, this is a 3D version." I was like, "No, no, this is how it is. It's just like you gotta sometimes it looks like that," and I
Hmm.
need to do that because yeah, you'll have the focus that looks like if you put the glasses on, the everything will come into focus and look sharper. I mean, regardless, I had a great time today watching it. I had a great time as the first time I watched it, and just in the times in between. This is a home run. There are so many great moments.
True.
It's kind of hard to pinpoint, but for me, I have to say it's the two times that Miles and Peter B. Parker work together or meet.
Oh, like the initial meeting in the graveyard. It
In
turns
the
into the car
graveyard
chase.
or the train chase. It
True.
was on the train. But then after that, when they go to the
Doc
no, no, not
Octavius.
Octavia. Well, that's when they meet, right? But when they go to the, I won't say the villain's lair, but I forgot the name of the company that they have to go to.
Yeah, where Octavia works. Or you're talking
Right, but
about Fisk.
no, they both were there.
Well, no, I'm thinking like Fisk hotel building versus the one in the field where they stole the PC.
No,
Where
and the one in the field. The
yeah,
one in the
okay,
field.
yeah, that was the first one
Yeah.
I'm mentioning. Yeah, Octavia. My friends call me Liz. My enemies call Doc Doc. That one.
Okay, real quick. Did you know who else called her Liz? Aunt May, showing that
I
there was
missed
a
that. Yeah.
relationship there, that they knew each other.
Which in the comics, Aunt May has a relationship with Doc Ock.
True. In the same relationship that they had there, no one knows.
Well, I mean,
Um,
Peter technically had history. Like Doc Ock was almost like a mentor to Peter at one point, right? In a
no,
couple
right, and no,
versions, yeah,
you're right. And then Doc Ock at one time took over the body of Peter.
yeah. Ooh, I did like that. I think they. Sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked, but this
No,
the talking about good stuff. When they bring in the other characters, the other Spider-Men, granted they'll go through quick flashes of their origins, which is cool because usually when we get an origin, it's like 20 minutes. They do it in like
oh,
3.
yeah, and I loved it. I love that they took it.
Gwen Stacy, Ghost Spider. I love the fact that they did her origin and it was actually very close to like what the comic is because
Hmm.
that was Peter Parker. Peter Parker did become the Lizard in her
Hmm.
version, and you see
Right,
the scales. They
right.
hint at that. I was like, oh yes, yes, I like
Well,
that.
that's what I mean. That's what I like about watching movies over and over again, or maybe in some time period from viewing to viewing, that you see details, obviously, that you missed the first time or first several times.
True.
And yeah, and I noticed that too today as well. I saw the scale. It was like good point to detail. Now, also when they did the flashbacks of each character, I also noticed the time frame. When the blonde Peter Parker, it was 10 years since he got bit. When Peter B. Parker got bit, it was 22 years.
Yeah.
Miles was 2 days,
Hmm.
and the other ones were like in between as well. So you heard the time frame for each one.
True. True.
There is a side thing with for Spider Ham. It's a short story. It's one of those extras that you don't get if you just get the movie. If you get the one with the extras on it, and it shows him getting sent into Miles' world at the end of the cartoon.
Oh, that'd
Yeah,
be
yeah, and
interesting.
it's very Looney Tune-ish. It has that similarity. Also, like this universe is not New York that we know it. Is another variation, another multi Earth or a counter Earth, if you will, in the sense of tagging the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Police is NYPD. Here it's PDNY. So it's like they switch it.
Hmm.
Besides being a great Spider-Man movie, it's also an awesome multiverse movie.
True, because
You know,
it does a great job of carrying the multiverse and the concept of immersion multiverse without actually having to travel through the multiverse per se. They bring it
well,
home.
he didn't. They did. They
Well, yeah,
traveled to him because I forgot that is like a multiverse movie as well. It's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Horrible representation of it, in my belief.
mm,
Far From Home, not Far From Home, No Way Home did a great version of that as well. Great explanation.
true.
Not so deep as they did here with this film, but it did
Mm,
again good version for a live action. Like here, it's a home run in the sense of it gets to the point. You have these main characters or side characters because No Way Home is more like a fan service to the original live action films, where here we don't know these characters, or the majority don't know these characters.
true.
Spider Gwen, Spider Ham,
Nor Spider Man,
Noir, yeah, Spider Man Noir.
even
If you go in the
Miles
comics,
himself.
exactly. Yeah, in the comic though, it's like Miles in the Ultimate Comics, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, Miles and Peter both got bit from Oscorp when they're spiders.
correct. Which is in the movie.
True, but in the sense that spider didn't come from his world. It came from the multiverse.
Yeah, you're right. It did start to flicker.
Right. So that's showing that it's not from that world, his world. Excuse me.
True.
Um, Now, what moments did you like?
Yeah, so Peter B. Parker, which I have to think B is for Ben Riley. That was a great moment in the
Which one?
science tower that we were talking about.
Hmm.
So I was that was on my list initially. Also, the introduction to all the Spider-Men in one go, like when they were in succession,
Hmm.
hilarious to me. And then they were giving him the run around and like beating him up. It doesn't sound great to say that they were beating him up, but it shows like they're giving him the challenge. Overall, the movie is good in the sense. I'm going to say this right now. The overall concept of the risk for the movie for the kid Miles Morales is that he's placed in impossible odds. He's a normal kid faced with like a reality that this is something he may not be able to do, even though he's been given great power. That's a lot of
Yeah,
pressure.
but wasn't that the same for Peter
He,
originally?
originally, yes,
He was
but
a
you
nerd.
also had a little bit of a workup for Peter in a sense. Like he didn't go to save the world off of issue
Oh,
one.
okay, got you. Yes.
And he didn't have like a potential representation role model where here he's filling someone's shoes. He's in the shadow of someone. But setting that aside, uh, I did love the dynamic between him and Prowler. And, like the fight scene at Aunt May's house was great.
For me, it was the first time when Prowler knows that someone's there, and he finds out
Oh,
that
he
it's him.
chases him. Yeah,
That was intense.
absolutely.
But you see Miles, he's just reacting and able to dodge and avoid getting hit or taking any serious damage, not even thinking.
Hmm. Well, that's like what he does throughout the majority of the movie is him just instinctively reacting to everything,
Hmm.
and that's really where it goes. I love the driving force between Kingpin. Like, what is his motivation?
Just like Scarlet Witches.
Yeah, yeah. It actually is just like Scarlet Witch, trying to
Hmm.
regain her family, and that's what he's trying to
Correct.
do. I personally, I thought that was great in the sense that I'm familiar with Kingpin. He's the villain. He's the bad guy, like Daredevil.
Hmm.
But then you draw that line, and he's like, if it involves his wife, and in this case his son, he will destroy the world.
Right.
And I thought that was a great pull for not being the cliche villain of, hey, I just want to, do this job so I can make money or something like that.
Or just take over the world. It was something very personal to him.
Yeah,
It was selfish, but yes, it wasn't like real estate as like in Lex Luthor and Christopher Reeve, Superman.
I know this is weird to say for a cartoon, but I think the chemistry between Gwen Stacy and Miles was very good.
That's weird.
Because it's a cartoon. Usually people don't like. I would say you wouldn't say chemistry and but what. Anyways, they
Mm,
seem to mesh very well as
it's
far as like
PG. It's
that.
PG. We have like Disney do their G cartoons, movies, with the
It's fair.
princess and things. So, and it wasn't like they were just like making out. There was some attraction there. There's some flirtation there, but
He
they
ripped out
didn't
her hair.
rip, ripped out her hair. She laughed at his corny joke and she gave a wink, and that was it. And the prince and Disney's they give kisses and all that stuff.
True, true, true. He did give the hay to Kingpin. Too. He goes,
Right, with the lightning.
"Hey."
Right, he uses uncle's flirt technique as a weapon. Now, there's two gripes.
Okay.
One is minute, but it's like I've seen it done so many times. But the other is the performance of his mother, played by Luna Lauren Velez.
Hmm.
She felt useless.
She
She
felt
was
like a
her.
side character.
Well,
And I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
she
pretty much they
is.
all are. Yeah, but she is. But like the relationship he had with his father, even though that is a main point, she was to me annoying. She was doing that Spanglish talk, which is a lot of parents do. Spanish people, sorry, Spanish parents do. Anyway, I understand that, but it just seemed, I don't know. It seemed like she was just reading lines instead of having emotion behind it. I was
I can
just
see where
that's how
yeah, it seemed like she if she didn't exist, you'd probably be
right.
okay.
Exactly. If say like his father was
Single dad.
single dad, like Aunt May
Hmm.
was Peter's like single parent or guardian,
Hmm.
I've been fine with that. It made no difference for me if that was the case. If she
So
was, I mean,
what will be interesting though is like in the comics, eventually it becomes that she's a single mother to Miles. Like his father, I believe, passes away. So
mhm.
I'd be interested to see if like they would try to do the same thing but flip the role, or like try to keep her and whatnot, and
Well,
then to give her better lines.
across the Spider Verse, I'm not sure how that's going to be because
Hmm.
I think it's been mainly in the Spider Verse where
True.
he's going there now instead of them coming to him. I don't know. I mean, it is a two-parter,
Oh,
and we're
is
going to
it?
see part. Oh yeah. So yeah, she was. I'm sorry. I just find I was like, "Ah, she's so annoying. I just wish she wasn't there.
Okay.
But the other thing was they done this with the old made for TV movie Spider-Man back in the day in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. I think they did with Toby as well. Is that when climbing the walls, he has his sneakers on. Miles Morales has his sneakers on. How can he stick or stay in contact on a wall upside down or sideways or horizontal with sneakers on? I mean, granted, yeah, Angel is a movie, don't worry about it. But the thing is, he has his fingers, and I know, and I get it, goes through the material to latch onto walls. That's his fingers, not his feet.
Okay. So here's the funny thing: the in the comics, he does it with the sneakers too.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. Yeah.
I get where you're coming from, and it makes sense for Miguel O'Hara. Is it Miguel O'Hara? Spider-Man 2099. because like
Played by
Oscar Isaac,
yeah, Oscar Isaac.
yeah,
Yeah, that's his voice. Yep.
and then Tobey Maguire, because Tobey Maguire has those microfiber hairs on his finger, and Miguel O'Hara literally has like claws that come out from the tips of his fingers to allow and his feet.
But so did Tobey Maguire. When they did a close up on his fingers, it's like they come right out.
Exactly, they're technically like a microfiber claw hair or something like that, but Miguel
Right.
literally has like these talon-like claws that come out from the fingers.
Okay.
And because he used them in the comics to like claw people and like can
Okay.
cut them. But
Well, I'm saying
yeah,
like
for the
when I'm
other
talking about the feet,
characters,
the hands, I get. I believe
I
Tobey
feel like
Maguire.
there's some kind of like a force or whatever they say in the comics. I
I
because
just
it's
find it
definitely
stupid.
not hairs. I understand. I'm not saying no to this.
No, but I mean, like, and then also in the Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, he's like wearing like almost like Nikes on his
Hmm.
feet, and so I was like, but how is that possible? That how can those feet grip the surface? In Toby's Spider-Man, his soles are very thin, so that makes it a little more believable.
Hmm.
But before he has the Spider-Man costume, he's wearing like Converse. Like when he's fighting Macho Man,
Yeah, yeah.
he's wearing like Converse or Jordans.
Setting aside even the shoe thing, when they're walking or going up and down, there's moments where they're just hanging by their feet and they'll jump and they'll still hang onto the wall. Like
Yeah,
like when he's walking up and he's like, "See you later, kid," and he's like going up and then he jumps off. But you don't see him like fold over or roll over. He jumps off and then I'm
right.
like, no, that's not how gravity works.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that had my those two things. Excuse me, or what I had gripes about the mother, and they still went with this walking with sneakers. So I was like, I mean, and they're like thick, they're high tops. So it's like there's so much rubber there to get to that surface. So it was just me on that part. Now I did like Aunt May here. She played the Alfred of Peter's Batman or Spider-Man in a
Hmm.
sense
Yes.
because she knew how to make the web sling. She knew how to access the spider cave, and also his spider cave was
Was
like Batman's
yeah.
trophies. It had a case of costumes. It had the costume from the video game
Yeah, it did.
with the white spider. They had the one with the cape. That's from like a. Of course, those are Easter eggs.
Hmm.
They're all every costume was an Easter egg of a comic book issue or video game.
Yeah,
They had
tons of
the
Easter eggs in the movie.
yeah, the buggy. I remember that
Hmm.
buggy. I used to have it in the toy version. So, when I saw that originally, and then I saw it again, I was like, that's took me back there. Rotten Tomatoes has it in the 90s. I totally agree. It's an A to A plus. I would definitely give it. Well, no, I guess you can't give it 100 if I have these two complaints. So I'll give it a 99 in execution, in storytelling, in action,
Rewatchability.
acting. Exactly right. I am going to watch the extended version to see what they did different and what they added on because I am interested in that. I got to find. I know I have 3D glasses somewhere. I gotta find them so I can watch this in 3D because I always meant to and I keep forgetting to put them on. But what about you? Like, is there anything else that we skipped?
I think we pretty much covered it. I agree with all the sentiment. I'm actually with the critics this time about the 97. If anything that we miss is like your reference of how this is tied to Star Wars.
Right, you want me to tell you right now?
If you got it off the cuff, go ahead.
Miles is Luke.
Okay.
Prowler is Vader.
Yeah, he didn't know Vader
I
was
am
his
well.
relative.
He's like, I am your uncle, right? I am your. He's his uncle. I am the father. So he didn't know that the villain is actually his relative,
Hmm.
and he is met with other people like him, in a sense of people with the same purpose. Right?
Okay.
Their purpose is to get home, to return home. Where in Star Wars, the purpose was to save the princess and to take down the Empire by blowing up the Death Star. They had to blow up that goober, or they needed the goober, which was the plans. So you're
To
making me
blow up
see.
to
You
blow
make
up the
see.
collider.
There you go. So I'm getting there. I'm making it right. And then instead of using the goober, what did he use?
Oh, he did use the goober.
No, he did not.
Oh, he used the Emperor.
Kingpin.
Yeah.
Who was the emperor, was Kingpin, right? And he shocked them and hit him towards, or threw him towards the green button, and
Okay.
then that turned it off. That blew up the Death Star or the Collider. You're
Okay.
welcome.
It's like, what's that line that Nebula says? It's like, you left out a lot of important details, but
At the distance.
that's the gist of it.
Right. Like I said, Star Wars is a great blueprint
Hmm.
of great storytelling, and this did the same exact thing. Not saying that it did, but they did use that blueprint of how to tell a story, how to get us engaged, to make us feel for the characters, to feel the threat.
Sure.
In the relationship with father and son, done very well.
You have Obi-Wan or Ben Kenobi with Luke Skywalker.
Hmm.
The mentor.
The father was like that. Yes, he.
No, I was thinking about old Peter.
Oh yes, sorry. Yes,
Hmm.
you're right. And letting go, and where he said like, well, he did that too soon in the sense of like use the force, where
Hmm.
Miles had no idea what to do.
Yeah, he was like, it's a leap of faith.
Right.
Mhm.
But you have like two versions of Obi-Wan, or maybe like the father was like Yoda.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could say the father.
Peter B. Parker was definitely Obi-Wan. Gwen was Princess Leia in a way that a little weird, a little way, not
I mean, it's
related.
weird either way. It's like a multiversal Spider-Man. Unless her name was Petra, it would have been even weirder.
Right. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, this is definitely worth the watch,
Worth the own.
worth the price of admission. If they gave this again right before they show them the second one,
That'd be
Across
nice.
the Spider Verse, I will watch it. I will
Hmm.
go and watch it.
That'd be a great opportunity to watch it if they do it in 3D.
Yes, it's definitely worth the watch. It's definitely worth owning the collection. Better than Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. It ties up there with the whole Tom Holland Spider-Man. It says of great storytelling.
Hmm.
Granted, that was a 3-movie origin story where this is done in one.
True.
All right, guys, that is our marvelous review of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Let us know what you thought about it. What's your favorite scene? Which one did you think was, they could have done without? Let us know in the comments below. If you would like us to review a movie for you or a show, email us at talesofthebros@gmail.com or just comment below. Until next time, will be the next time. I'm Angel.
Well, then,
Love you, bro.
love you too.